So it's a big Connie lineup. All right. Welcome to the Constellation Exposition, I guess. Out of the way, losers. Real human being coming through. So what have we got here then? Constellation and the Auroras off to the right, as well as a Perseus downstairs. Oh my god. Nice, Perseus. Let's go check it out. Very excited for that. Alright. So, a lot of you might be familiar already with the Constellation. One of my favorite ships in-game. They are old, don't get me wrong. They are very old ships. And there's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. They all serve a purpose, alright? Constellations are there as a stepping stone to larger capital-sized sort of vessels, like, you know, an 890 jump, 600 eyes, hammerheads, larger Aegis or Anvil ships in the future. They are there because they're affordable and classic. One of the first ships I ever fell in love with was the Constellation. They truly are beautiful ships, and this is the Phoenix, the ship that I just flew here in. This, of course, being the Aquila. Now, you can tell the difference between the Aquila and the rest of the lineup by just looking at the nose. The Aquila is the only constellation to have a rounded, globe-shaped sort of cockpit canopy, whereas the Phoenix, the Andromeda, and the Taurus, not yet released, the cargo variant of the Constellation, has pointy glass struts and a pointed cockpit. Now, internally, they're all very, very similar. So we'll take the Aquila as the example. Every Constellation has an interior just like this for the main crew. It's only back here that changes the most. So obviously in here, you can see that what we've got is a huge hangar space / parking space, missiles galore. And back here, of course, as standard on every Constellation, access to your snubcraft Merlin or Merlin or Archimedes. You've also got a nice little escape hatch here, which lets us very handily get onto the engine port, which I'm a big fan of. I mean, look at the size of it compared to me. It's ginormous. Can I walk into one of these fans and get myself killed, I wonder? No, thank God for that. That would have been a bit brutal and gruesome. Let's get back inside so I can show you guys the cockpit. Up we go. Right, so apparently we have got a fan of the Aquila cockpit in chat with us today. So Shouty's a big fan of the Aquila cockpit. I am a big fan of the Aquila cockpit as well. I think it's a nice looking cockpit. I think the sort of round design, pardon me, is very exciting compared to the other designed cockpits that we have. You get to see a lot more, a hell of a lot more. I really kind of wish that they made this cockpit standard on all Constellations, because I'm a big fan of it personally. I do like it as well. It's much nicer than the ones that are pointed on the Phoenixes. You have access to a turret as well as a top turret, which isn't actually a gun turret, it's actually a scanning turret with radars. There we go. Down we go. Jesus. Yeah, that's the Connie. That's the Connie Aquila. I'm a big fan of that glass. Otherwise, you got the Phoenix version as well, like I said earlier. A really, really nice ship. Now, I'm not going to walk around the interior of every ship. The Andromeda is very, very similar to the Aquila, except it has a few more missiles on the side. This Phoenix, however, is worth showing you. Now, I did actually obviously come in one of these, so we'll probably use parts of that in the video clip, but look at the interior of this ship. Completely different in every single way. And actually, as the stream will attest to, surprisingly cool. This is the secret lair of the Phoenix, a secret hatch that allows you to head down into the cargo bay. Not sure why this would be in the main hall of the sleeping sort of hangout quarters of the Phoenix, but it is. And it does give you, I think, the coolest atmospheric sort of hangar there is. I love it because it makes me feel like a stowaway. It's all hidden, it's all secret. And then you use this button here, and we go down. Whether or not it fits an Ursa Rover is something I'm actually going to check later on in the stream because I can't remember. Right, here we go. Perfect. Very nice. I'm a big fan of the Constellation series. So if you haven't seen them before, I suggest checking them out. And I also highly suggest checking out the Constellation advert as well, done by SIG almost 5 or 6 years ago now. It was an homage to 2001: A Space Odyssey. Really good trailer. Probably one of the most emotional and dreamy, imagine kind of trailers that SIG have ever produced. That along with the Miss Freelancer advert, which I think is actually SIG's most popular advert, because I think that was the one that brought a lot of people to the game, the Freelancer advert. It is a nice advert. Bit of a scam though. Freelancer can't do that. Ah, there she is, the Mantis. Now I was thinking about picking one of those up today in the expo, but I chose not to because I'm not the biggest fan of its weak-ass stats. So here's the thing about the Mantis. Very unique, the only ship in the game that can actually pull players out of quantum jump using its quantum interdiction device. However, it only has 2 size 3 hard points, and its hull is surprisingly weak. So although it's very expensive and massive, it packs less punch than a Gladius, and, well, in my opinion, if you're using this to bounty hunt, you're more likely to become bounty hunt food than you are to actually successfully capture your criminal. Really, there's not much about this ship that I like, except for the design. Because when you're sat inside of it and you're flying it, it does look pretty nice. This stupid, tiny, whiny... No, don't carry the grenade. This stupid, tiny, whiny little elevator. Hate it. Stupid. It's too small. This massive amount of wasted space on the interior of this ship, again, I hate it. It's too small. This broken ass, whatever the hell, hate it. Too small. I hate it, and it's broken. So, it's a really cool ship in design and concept, but in reality, unfortunately, it is just pretty much useless, and you very rarely see any of these anymore, thanks to the introduction of Drake's Cutlass Blue, which has the same quantum dampening technology that this has to stop people from getting into hyperspace and jumping to begin with, which is more useful than actually being able to interdict them in quantum jump. Being able to stop them from even running away is the most useful thing, definitely. Obviously, we have the old reliables over here. The Aurora LN, the first starter ship I think I ever purchased. It was actually, I think, my game package. This is the Discovery version. I think that's the C or whatever it is called. No idea what this red one is. I haven't got a bloody clue. Is it? So which one is this? It's the Aurora LX. That's the Aurora MR. So is the MR the one that's standard, or is that the one that has more? I've got no bloody clue. What's the actual difference between these ships, chat? Does anyone know the major difference? I know the LN is the main one when it comes to being able to fight people because it has more guns. The military version of the ship. I'm actually going to rent it, and we'll have a go with it later on. If it lets us rent it, that is. Will it? The server going to go down? What's happening, game? Come on. Alright, never mind. It is a really nice ship. It has 4 size 2 missiles, 4 size 2 hardpoints, or size 1 hardpoints. A very cool engine intake, which you can just about see here at the top behind the missiles. Very cool. I do think these are size 1, though, not size 2. Yeah, they must be size 1, unfortunately. Let me in. Every Aurora does have a bed as well, so if you're thinking about what starter ship to get, if you only want to spend the minimum you have to play the game, which is about $45, you do have the choice between an Aurora and a Mustang. Mustang. Go for the Aurora every time. The Mustangs are nice ships, but unfortunately the Mustangs are kind of gimped at the moment. You can't do a lot of the missions you need to be able to do. So box missions, things like that, are just you can't do them in a Delta. And also, I think the Aurora is just a more fun ship. It doesn't fly as well as the Delta, that's for sure. It's not as agile, but I think it's a better ship, for sure. Right, apparently we can't rent the ship. We'll try again in a little bit. Which Aurora is the one over here then? So we've got the LX, the M, whatever it is, the LN. So which one of these two, I wonder? What are we looking at? Oh, that's the cargo variant, isn't it? It's the extra large one. The extra large with the extra large booty. If I'm not mistaken. CL. And this is the ES. My God. I think this is the exploration one because it has the ginormous vents on the side for extra engine sort of fuel intakes. I think that's correct. I think that might be correct. I don't know. I don't know. Alright, I don't know much about the Aurora. I'm really sorry, guys. Okay, I thought they're just the same. They're the same ship in every single aspect. They are the same. So it doesn't matter which one you get, but it does. Get the LN. Alright, that's a fact. Get the LN. It's the only one worth grabbing, in my opinion. Because it has cargo space just like every other one. You can get inside of it. It has a nice leather chair. Oh, not anymore. Oh, they changed the leather chair. Let down. It's got the best paint job, I'll tell you that much. Come on, game, let me rent it. Let me rent it. Come on, game. Which Aurora would you guys get in chat? I'm pretty sure it's the LN, because it's the only one that packs a punch, but... if it's not, if there's a different Aurora that you would get, let me know which. Tell me why. I'd love to know why. Alright. Well, screw you then. Can't rent the ship I want to fly. Sucks. I like it. I might go and grab one just for fun. I like the Aurora. It's a cool ship, man. I like it. It feels very... I don't know. Let's have a think. What starter ships do we know at the MR? Why would you go for the MR, Grub? I think if we compare every single starting vehicle in every space game that we can play right now, Elite Dangerous, Eve, whatever, I think the Aurora is one of the coolest looking starter ships in any game. Would you agree with me? I like it. Very well designed. Big fan. Good guns. The MR has good guns. What about the LN? The LN has more good guns. It's got 4 of them. Shaft, you've never been a fan of the design. Interesting, interesting. There's some machine guns. So this is the one that you like, is it, Grob? The MR. I wonder why. So I also started out with the Titan. The first ship I purchased, obviously, was this ship when the game launched, because, you know, that was pretty much all there was. But then I upgraded that to a... No, I didn't. I sold it, I think. Well, I did something with it, and I purchased the Titan starter pack, and I got all that extra stuff. Annoyingly now, my actual game package doesn't come with anywhere near as much stuff as my original game package with the Titan. My original Titan game package came with soundtrack, brochure, you know, like manuals, all that other stuff. No longer does it come with any of that, which is a real bummer. Real bummer. I don't like small ships, but I like the Aurora. Yeah. I don't like small ships either, but there's something about an Aurora, right? When you see someone flying an Aurora, maybe it's just me because I've been playing the game for so long, and you know, I backed the game back in 2014, so 6 years ago. Whenever I see someone flying an Aurora, obviously I instantly assume that that is a new player. And straight away, I feel quite an emotional connection to that guy or gal. I sort of feel like I shouldn't blow them up in my obviously overpowered ship compared to theirs. And also that it's lovely to see someone hopefully having fun in what they consider to be a reasonably priced ship for an affordable game, maybe. Maybe that $45 to pay for that ship was all they could afford at the time. And to them, that ship is everything. To me and lots of other players now, the main issue is we have everything that we need in a lot of ways. You know, we don't pine for anything. There's no wants or desires that we personally have because, I mean, me, for example, I've got all the ships I could possibly want. I have my Perseus, I have my Polaris, I have my A2s. You know, there's no reason for me to fly an Aurora, but when I see someone flying one, they haven't got all those things. And they're enjoying the game in the rawest sense possible. And I do envy that sometimes, being able to enjoy the game in its entirety. The Ursa Rover, of course, a fantastic ship. Oh, it's not even a ship, it's a vehicle. The only ground vehicle at the moment, because Origin haven't released their G series, that has decent firepower capabilities with a remote-controlled turret on top, as well as, in my opinion, the most optimized internal space of any vehicle whatsoever in the game. Look how well optimized this internal space is. Right, you've got 4 chairs for players to sit in. You've also got gun racks. You've also got 4 gun racks, a server, a locker for any equipment, and again, 2 more seats for pilots to drive in. It's the best optimized space, like size to space layout vehicle in the entire game, in my opinion. A testament to SIG's ability to actually design useful and good ships. This vehicle truly is, in my opinion, something designers should be very proud of having in their arsenal. If you worked on this and you work at SIG and for some reason you're watching this video, just let me tell you that I'm very happy with the Ursa Rover and you guys did a fantastic job. All right, you guys really did do an amazing job. Now, can I rent one? That's another question. I think renting isn't working, boys. So we can't rent this or the Aurora. Maybe we'll have one in our inventory anyway, because I would like to fly one. That would be nice. Right, never mind then. It's not working. All right, but that is the Ursa Rover, a truly gorgeous ship. Now, for some reason, the green variant isn't there. And if you haven't seen the green one, it's actually the special, what do they call it? What was the holiday called? The Irish holiday. Oh, I can't remember. But it's a special green one to commemorate that, and it is a very cool ship. I do like it. I would grab one, to be honest. If I could, I would grab one. Right, now the reason we're all here today. Oh. Is this this Polaris? This is the Polaris. Nice. So, Highfire asked earlier on my thoughts about the design of the Polaris. Now, it's weird because, as you'll see in a minute, the introduction of the Perseus really puts the Polaris in a very strange place, design-wise. It comes across as not being that big of a ship, let's be honest. The Polaris is supposed to be RSI's capital ship. And if you think about it, the Idris is Aegis' capital ship. Now, they obviously have the Javelin as well, which is a bit different. And Drake have the Kraken, which is their capital ship. RSI's capital ship is this, the Polaris. And weirdly, compared to those other capital class ships, it is one of the only ones that seems to be understated. It only has torpedoes, size 12s, mind you, which should be able to destroy almost anything. Its point defense is rather poor, with size 3 guns, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 size 4 or size 5 turrets with both size 3 guns. I'm a big fan of the gun layout, though. It should make it easy to protect, especially if you manage to AI slave those turrets. I think it should perform really, really well as a sort of defendable ship. But when it comes to capital versus capital, the only thing this can do is fire torpedoes. And if just like they do now, SIG gimp the game in such a way that the torpedoes and missiles become useless, you're going to find this ship isn't used as much as it should be. On paper, with the stats and everything, size 12 torpedoes should provide it with enough firepower to take out pretty much any ship in the game. And if you didn't know, it does also have a hangar space. That yellow strip up there is an internal hangar bay. It's one of the reasons why this is going to be, if the imagination inside of my brain comes true, this ship is going to be one of the main ships that I fly myself with my friends in the org. It's the main ship that I will be flying because it allows me a lot of protection, should be really fast. If it's not fast, I'll be pretty upset. And it has a hangar space for, well, traveling in small, narrow environments, risky spaces, and, fighting off other things. Maybe even doing some deliveries. I like the Polaris. I think it's going to be it's already a really popular ship. Don't get me wrong. It sells out all the time every year. The design of it is a bit like a wedge. Every RSI ship right now is becoming a bit of a wedge. I think this is going to be the new Perseus, a dream ship of mine come to reality. Weirdly enough, not as big as we expected. We all saw from the leaks, of course, we all saw this sort of, which is the top bridge where the players would sort of sit. And we all assumed that bridge would be quite large, a bit like any other capital vessel. Turns out it's not. Actually, that bridge only seats one person at the front and two in the rear. So it's sort of like this. You have one guy at the front, two at the back, and then it's just a very small, probably even smaller than a Constellation-sized canopy. As you can see, though, a few less struts. It's glass all around the bottom and the top, just like the Mantis. So hopefully they'll do that to the Constellation one day. Here, everyone thought this was some ridiculous bomb bay door. Now, I knew it was just going to be a ramp, but it turns out it's not a ramp per se. Actually, an airlock slash, what do they call it? It's a docking port for stations. So this is a good indication that they're going to bring out those docking stations hopefully soon, because it seems they finalized that design and that's what they're going with. These on the side just look like clamps. No real idea what they are, but I think they might just be clamps to hold on to a docking station. No idea. I think docking is going to be automated, so we'll see what SIG have in the end for its design. You got one rear-mounted 2 size 3 guns, as well as one on top as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, there you go. One on top, one size 3 turrets. 2 massive size 7 turrets with 2 size 7 guns each. The main reason for owning this ship is because of those size 7 guns. I do think they're bespoke. If we look at the brochure, which we will do just after this, you'll see that the Perseus is it's designed just like the Ares. All right, it's got a bespoke gun with bespoke ammunition, as it's depicted in the brochure. It's designed for one role, and that is to fight off small subclass capital ships and be a ginormous menace. I think this is going to be one of the main pirate ships in the game. I think that it will outperform every other subclass capital in the game right now. Definitely outperforms the Hammerhead, because this has got a much greater chance of killing a Hammerhead than a Hammerhead does of killing this. But, as I mentioned, with the only 2 turrets it has for air defense being 2 size 3s, it really is limited on its ability to defend itself against an incoming attack. So although it can be very aggressive, and it should always be the first thing that attacks, it cannot defend itself. And I think that's a really good balance for a ship like this. Something this size that can pack a punch, but can't defend itself very well. It might sound stupid, but it's meant to be part of a fleet. If you had one of these alongside a Hammerhead, now that's the right thing to do, and that is the correct way to play the game, in my opinion. I don't think there's any other strategy than that. One of these, maybe 2 of these, 1 Hammerhead, and maybe a few small fighters. You're going to be completely indestructible, taking out almost everything. And here we go, the Constellation Taurus. Oh, would you look at that? The Constellation Taurus has the rounded glass. I had no idea about that, Shafty. I had absolutely no idea. So the one thing about the Taurus is that it doesn't have the Merlin at the back. But what I don't get is why what I don't get is why the actual, like, storage space hasn't gone all the way back then. Unless this is truly a really old design that they haven't decided to stick with. I can't tell. I can't tell what their plan is for the Taurus. I don't think it's anyway. I don't think it's coming anytime soon, because I think that they're going to do a Connie redesign, or I hope they do a Connie redesign, and I think the Taurus might be a part of that. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. It's difficult to know. SIG don't really tell people their plans unless you give them loads of money. All right, guys. I think that's the last of the